Before using Intent, we scheduled the project and we did a quote for it, and it worked out to about 200 hours for the backend development. And with Intent, it was a new dev working on the project, so he first had to learn Intent and then start a project, and it still took 3 days. So about 24 hours in work hours, and that project was ready to go. Full CRUDs, authorizations, the whole infrastructure with Azure, everything was managed. And it's astonishing because now you can basically get it into QA within 3 days.
Hi everyone, Skalk and Gareth here from Intent Architect. As always, Gareth is calling in from Amsterdam and I'm calling in all the way from Cape Town in South Africa. And we're very excited to welcome you guys to another Intent Architect case study interview. And joining us today is Jaco Roux, the lead developer at Senwes. And Jaco's calling in all the way from Klerksdorp in South Africa. Welcome, Jaco, and thank you for joining us.
Happy to be here.
So just to quickly introduce Jaco, Jaco has around a decade's worth of experience as a software engineer and lead developer, and he mainly focuses on .NET and Angular these days. And since 2015, he's mainly been building enterprise-grade systems for agriculture companies. As I mentioned, Jaco is currently the lead developer at Senwes, and they are one of South Africa's leading agriculture companies with a proud history spanning over 114 years. And Senvest is essentially a group of companies. They employ north of 5,000 people. And the Senvest IT department is one of their centralized corporate services providing technology solutions to the group of companies. So, Jaco, for starters, and before I hand you over to Gareth, do you mind giving us a high level feel for what it is you guys do within the IT department at Senvest?
Certainly. So we manage a diverse portfolio of systems in several business sections. So there's grain trading, handling, a retail department, multiple corporate services type systems, which we call enterprise systems, and then also a digital transformation wing, which we manage greenfield projects and integrations on.
Great, Yaku, and just want to say thanks very much once again for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure working with yourself and the team over the last, I think it's closing in on a year now. One of the things that I just wanted to start with discussing with you guys is maybe you could tell us a little bit about where you guys came from, some of the challenges that you guys were facing in the software space prior to bringing Intent Architect into your environment.
Before we started using Intent, we had a difficult time starting greenfield projects because it was a very time consuming process to set up all the structures, get the dependencies going, and it delayed delivery because the development team couldn't get to the business logic. Everyone was busy setting up projects, making sure the governance was there. And then we also had a drive to go cloud hybrid, and it brought in different challenges because every new project someone did something a little bit different. So code reviews ended up being a lot of focus went into, is everything in the right place, instead of focusing on the business logic.
Yes. And once you guys had come across Intent Architect, what made you guys decide to give it a try?
After the first demo, everyone was, this is what we need, because at first you think it's a scaffolding tool, but you soon realize it's a code management tool. It's more than just scaffolding. So we did a POC on a project and it worked out perfectly. We decided to let's take this opportunity now to introduce a whole new approach to our development. So we took the clean architecture template that you provide, and we said we're going to rapidly implement this now, which in the beginning was a bit scary because it's a new tool, it's a whole new approach. But it was 2 months in, and we had a project working in clean architecture, and there was consensus in the whole team because this is something that was tested. There's no disagreements within the team.
And what was so you guys were using a clean architecture, what were the fundamental components of that clean architecture in terms of the technology stacks and things that you guys chose as part of that for that project?
So we use .NET web APIs, and then for the specific project, we went with the mass transit implementation with eventing to Azure Service Bus, and it solved a lot of issues because we had a polling system going out to all our retail branches. So every 5 minutes, go get data and bring it up. And there was multiple different issues with that approach, where now we have near real-time communication consistently from all branches.
Great. And maybe you could tell us a little bit about what you guys felt you were able to achieve with Intent Architect in those first few months of using the platform.
Before using Intent, we scheduled the project and we did a quote for it, and it worked out to about 200 hours for the backend development. And with Intent, it was a new dev working on the project. So he first had to learn Intent and then start a project, and it still took 3 days. So about 24 hours in work hours, and that project was ready to go. Full CRUDs, authorizations, the whole infrastructure with Azure, everything was managed. And it's astonishing because now you can basically get it into QA within 3 days.
That's crazy. I love that. Jaco, what are the main benefits that you felt Intent Architect brought to yourself and the team that you guys have experienced so far?
I think the code quality is a big thing. So yes, the speed is amazing, the efficiency and the pace is good, but the code quality, it basically takes every developer in the team to a 10x level, because I can be sure now that everything is in the right place, it's working correctly. It's the benefit of having the architecture basically taken care of is it's a lot of pressure off the team, and they can get to the business logic much quicker.
Yeah. I mean, what is the feedback from the other devs?
In the beginning, everyone was a bit skeptical because it's a new approach on how we build things, and it's a new tool. But now, as soon as someone needs to start working on a legacy project that's not in Intent yet, then there's that disappointment because everyone wants to start a new project now because it's so easy. The moment you have your domain mapped, it's a few clicks, few minutes, and you have a full CRUD backend ready to go.
Yeah. And I mean, just in terms of the other aspects, for example, did you guys find how did you guys find some of the visibility on the systems and things like that? Was that something that the team got value from?
Yes, so in the project we had the one I said now about the 200 hours, 24 hours increase. We had to make a major change in the middle of that project as well, where we changed our approach and using the domain, everyone, including business, so not just technical users, could see how everything fits together, and we could make that change easily in the actual demo of the system. We could make the change.
Yes. And just so I understand, you guys were showing the business users these models and helping them understand the design of the system, even though they are not very technical. Is my understanding correct?
Yes, because it's the domain. It's a bit abstract, so you can't show them code, but when you see the domain, everyone knows how everything fits together. So it's another drive for us to go domain driven design to get that bridge between business and IT.
Yeah, fantastic. And I mean, in terms of if you mentioned earlier that one of the projects was estimated at 200 hours, you guys managed to get that done in 24 hours. What were some of I mean, were there other examples of other projects? Like, what were some of the benefits that you saw across projects besides that one? Maybe you could tell me a little bit about those.
One of the biggest projects we had recently was our e-commerce platform. So it's multiple complex integrations with third-party vendors and our internal systems. And in that project, we changed our approach midway through the project, rethought a bit about how we're gonna handle things, and we used mass transit with service bus on the queues for orders and payments, including SAP integration. And the speed with which we first had two devs, and we brought it down to one dev working on that project, because everything was managed in intent, two microservices, and he managed everything on his own.
How much did you guys like estimate that project to take, or was that project already estimated with Intent Architect? How long did you guys estimate that project to take versus how long it actually took for you guys?
On that project, because it was a lot of third-party integrations, it's a bit closer to the estimation, but with the internal part built in intent, it took about 30% of the time that we originally estimated. Also, as the development team works with intent, they get more comfortable and they get faster.
Fantastic. And maybe looking a little bit into the future from where you guys are right now, Jaco. So, what role do you see Intent Architect playing at Senwes in the future?
My dream would be to get all our legacy applications into intent so that we have the code management, which will help us with the upgradability of the system. If we have to introduce major changes, it's a lot easier than doing everything manually. So the standard for any greenfield project now is using intent. There's no other way to start a greenfield project.
Yeah. I mean, if you had to build a new greenfield project with Intent Architect in the future, what kind of expectation would you have in terms of time saving, the quality, and for the team and those kinds of things?
So our estimation now is with the same team, we can do three times the work in hours, because our original estimation was if each dev just saves 1 hour a day, imagine in a year's time what that will bring. So it's much more than 1 hour now.
Yeah, that's great. And for people who've never used Intent Architect before, they've never come across it, maybe they're very similarly skeptical about whether this platform could actually help them. What would you tell them?
Definitely give it a go. Get into the demo as well, because the documentation and the webinars will show you what you need, but you have to do a POC and see how it will work for you. That's the only way you're gonna realize what the tool truly can do for you.
Fantastic. And would you recommend Intent Architect to teams?
Definitely, it's not a tool for us anymore. It's more like team augmentation. You get a new team member.
That's amazing. Yaku, just want to say thanks so much for joining us today. It's really amazing to hear what you guys have been able to achieve with Intent Architect. Appreciate you taking the time, and I know it's been on a very busy day for you guys. So thanks for coming, and looking forward to seeing what we can do for you guys in the future.
Thank you.